Hey everyone, I'm Mind, and this is set number 71750, Lloyd's Hydro Mech from the LEGO Ninjago theme. This set contains 228 pieces, 2 minifigures, and will retail for $19.99 in the US. This is an all-new set that may be out in your country or may not be, depending on where you live. If you're outside of North America, this set's probably available right now and has been since June 1st, but if you live within North America like I do, this set will not be coming out until August 1st. So with all that being said, let's get on to the review. Here is Lloyd's Hydro Mech, and right off the bat, the first thing that jumped out to me is this set is tall. Like, it's such a huge mech for only a $20 set, which, kind of surprised me. About a month ago, I got the opportunity to interview one of the Ninjago designers. I'll be making a full video on that, just going over other things from the interview, but one of the things he mentioned in that interview was this was originally supposed to be a bigger set. I believe he said it was in the $40 price range, though I'm not positive on that, so don't quote me on that part. But in the interview, he told me and Matthew, who was also there with me, that the Lloyd's Hydro Mech set was originally supposed to be a bigger set and then was reduced down because LEGO wanted a set in a smaller price range. And knowing that knowledge, I can actually really see that here. That makes sense why it's so big, because if you have this amazing set you've designed, obviously if you're told to reduce it by half the price, that's gotta be difficult to keep a lot of what you had. And I think they did a really good job of giving us a pretty substantial mech for only $19. This guy's movable foot joints, movable leg joints, movable arm joints, and bendable elbows. There's a few different bits of the set where I feel like the parts limit was stretched really thin, there were just bits of polish that I've come to expect from LEGO that aren't present in this set. And again, I think that comes down to this originally being a larger set that had to be reduced down to a smaller one. And the designers wanting it to still be reminiscent of their original design without completely redoing it. So let me show you some of that up close. The feet are fairly simple, but I think they're a good design. They have a gold bar out the front, these two little clips pointing out for a little bit of texturing, sand green slope pieces at the front, a black slope piece at the back, and they both connect to this ball joint socket right here. Both feet are exactly identical, nothing different about either of them. The very bottom of the leg is just a CCBS joint with nothing covering it. This isn't unheard of for LEGO. They've done it before, but I haven't seen them do something like this in a few years. Usually these joints get covered up by system parts. So it's just a little strange to me just to see that open technical with nothing else covering it. I don't think it looks bad. I think it works for this mech, but it's just something I noticed. Then right above that we have the mech's knees. You can see there's two Nexonite shields in sand green with some stickers on them. This one has a little bit of this bright orange color. This bright orange is the Ninja's color for this wave. They use it in tons of different sets. And I think the combination of it with a sand green is a really interesting color combination. I think it looks good. Not what I'd expect from Lloyd, but that's not a bad thing. I think they actually look quite good together. You can also see there's some writing in the Ninjago language right there. If anybody wants to translate that, let me know in the comments. Above that, you have these two builds that are sort of meant to look like cloth covering up the sides of the legs. This is very similar to something they did all the way back in 2012 with the original Samurai X mech, where they have these cloth pieces connected on ball joints to cover the legs, so when you have the legs in a more dynamic pose, you can also have the cloth move with it. And I think that's a really great idea. It makes the mech look a lot more natural. You can see you can move the cloth individually. You can have it up, you can have it down, you can have it forward, you can have it back. It's just connected on a mini ball joint and there's nothing much restricting it, so you can do whatever you want with it. But if we look at the leg underneath the cloth, you can see there's just tons of exposed studs over here, including an exposed open stud right here, and there's not very much holding the legs together. It's just one layer of bricks. And this is the part of the set that made me go, okay, I could see how this used to be a bigger set, because I feel like I haven't seen this from LEGO in literally years. They would normally cover this up with even just sand green sloped pieces, just give this a smoother look, or even just hold it in place a little bit better. This isn't unsturdy, it is still sturdy, but it's just not the standard I've come to expect from LEGO, so that was kind of surprising to me. It's not a huge deal and very easy to fix if you want to make this look a little nicer, make this a little more sturdy yourself. But yeah, that just jumped out to me as strange because I'm not used to seeing something like that. And it's the same exact one on the other side too. Moving on next to right below the cockpit area, you can see there's two more of those sand green Nexonite shields. On this side of the mech, there's also this rubber tube piece that comes out of the front and into the back right here. You can imagine this as an air tank or something, so that when Lloyd's underwater with this mech, this is pumping air into there so you can actually breathe. And then of course it leads to this windshield piece, which is the same windshield piece that's used in pretty much all the Seabound sets. This originally came on Cole's Boulder Blaster from earlier this year, though this time around it's in trans light blue and gold rather than just trans clear and gold like the original was. This entire cockpit area hinges open. There's actually two hinges on it, one at the bottom and one in the middle, so you can move the bottom hinge down and then the top hinge down. And that opens up to show you what the interior looks like. This is where you're supposed to place Lloyd. You're supposed to slide his legs onto this bar right here. Because of Lloyd's scuba tank though, it's not actually the easiest to get him in here. You can see it just goes in at an angle and it's not the most comfortable to close that up around him because he's just sort of leaning forward. So the trick with this is to actually arch his legs before putting him in, and then you slide him into place like this and then you close it up around him. And then it looks like he's piloting the mech a little bit more properly. The main structural build for the arms is pretty much the same for the both of them. There's this ball joint up here that connects to this part, which connects to this hinge right here, and this hinge can go forward and back. And even though it's a little more hidden, you can see it's the same thing on this side. The shoulder blade on this arm looks a little bit fancier. You can see that there's some sand green wing pieces right here and this more armored piece that came from Master of the Mountain last year. And then the arm itself just has this triangular sand green piece, a gold bar piece for texturing, same thing on the other side. It can hinge forward and back on that elbow like I mentioned. And then there's also a little mini hand on the wrist, which can be rotated 360 degrees. In the middle of the hand there is a clip, and that's because the set comes with a sword for the mech to hold. Here's the sword, just a large gold blade with a black staff as the hilt and then a little tassel coming off, and then you can wrap 2 of the mech's fingers around it. And with the rotation on the wrist and the elbow and the arm as well as with the legs, it's actually some pretty decent poses you can get this guy in. Like, the ability for this guy to swing the sword is a lot better than some other Ninjago mechs, which is impressive because the set's only $20. Stability is another thing. This entire long blade's only held in with 1 clip, so it's very easy to just nudge out. It would have been nice if there was like a second clip to like really like hold this thing in place, but again, this set's only $20. I can't expect too much from it. Like, there's already so much here that I wouldn't expect from a $20 set that, like, I get that it's not going to be the most stable. On the other arm, the shoulder pad's really interesting. It's the upside down, like, nose of a plane. Or I guess this could be used as, like, the bottom of a boat or something, if you want to imagine this, like, entire mech being made out of, like, a shipwreck. But yeah, this is really cool, really fun parts usage. I know some people don't like this, but I don't really understand why. It just feels very silly, very fun, and it feels like something that, like, fits LEGO perfectly. I love this. There's a little sticker piece on it with Lloyd's symbol. There's a little light attached right there, so you can imagine this is how Lloyd is, like, seeing in the darkness of the ocean. And then the hand on this one's bright orange. There's this little stickered piece, which I would assume says danger in the Ninjago language, though I'm not positive on that, so if anybody wants to translate, let me know in the comments. But there's this little warning symbol on it, some black and orange bars, and then at the end of the hand there's these 2 claw pieces. These are used in pretty much all of the Seabound sets this year. They're new for this wave, and they look really cool, and they're probably used the best in this set. They probably work the best as claws. Each claw hinges individually, so you can have them close up or open up. If you want them, it's quite easy to trap a villain inside. And personally, I just think that entire function's a lot cooler than the sword. I know I would have had a lot more fun playing with that when I was younger, and it's a lot more stable than the sword is in the hand. So I really like that feature. I think it's awesome. But I think that's about going to do it for the Hydro Mech itself, so now let's move on to the minifigures. As with the rest of my Seabound reviews, before I show you these figures up close real quick, I just want to mention that they both come with flippers. Lloyd has black flippers and the Hydro Whipper has teal flippers. The flippers just don't work with my current like minifigure review setup, so I'm going to show you them here and then move you to the minifigure review setup without the flippers. So if you're curious, here's how both of these guys look. So here are the 2 figures in the set up close. We have Scuba Lloyd and we have Hydro Whipper, or Maaray Guard, I suppose. This is the cheapest way to get Scuba Lloyd, and I know a lot of people probably really want this figure, but personally he's my least favorite of the scuba suits. I'm happy to get him, but he's just not that interesting in my opinion. I like the yellow on his torso, and I like the combination of normal green and dark green. But yeah, other than that, there's just not much about this figure that jumps out to me. Certainly not bad, just not that interesting. Hydro Whipper, though, I think this is the 4th set I'm reviewing him in. Still very, very good. Love this figure. Uses the Pyro Whipper head from Secrets of Forbidden Spinjitzu, though this time in black and teal. And the teal is a solid color, not a transparent color, so that makes him distinct from the Pyro Vipers. Really cool torso on him, too. He has a combination of gold, teal, and black. Gold armor all throughout him, on his shoulders, on his torso, on his hips, and on his knees. Very goofy looking, very aquatic looking. He works just as a fun character and as a villain. I really like him. Lloyd, unfortunately, does not come with his main weapon in this set for some reason. He doesn't come with, like, his little taser gun. I don't really understand why that is. All the ninja come with their taser guns in every other set. Lloyd just doesn't have his here, which is kind of lame, honestly. Like, it's just 2 more parts. I don't see why they couldn't include it. Yeah, I don't know, it's a small thing, but I really wish they included that. He does get a regular silver katana though, which can fit into the scuba gear on his back. Hydro Whipper comes with a sai on a little dragon hilt. Here is Lloyd with everything removed, and Hydro Whipper with his head removed, so you can better look at both of their torso prints, as well as Lloyd's face print. And there they both are from the back, so you have Lloyd's alternate face, as well as both of their back torso prints. So, overall, would I recommend this set? This set's a mixed bag, because there's a lot I like about it, but it also feels very flawed. I think this set's probably best enjoyed if you buy it and then customize it yourself to make it a little more stable, maybe. My one major criticism of this set, though, is it really needed a 3rd minifigure. Specifically, Scuba Neo would have been awesome in this set. She only comes in 1 set, which is the biggest set, even though she's the main character this season, and only 2 figures for $20 is a little bit lame. So if Scuba Neo came in this set, I think this set would be like pretty much perfect. It would be a great value for the price. But despite all the set's flaws, I still think I would really recommend it, because it is just interesting to see a mech just this big for such a low price. They jam-packed a lot in here. The claw function's really good. The posability, like having feet joints and leg joints and elbow joints and a wrist joint. Like, considering this is only $20, I'm impressed by how much they stuffed in here. So while this set isn't perfect, I'd say for sure I would still recommend it. And if you're curious about Seabound but don't want to spend like $70 plus, I think this is the set to get. So as a whole, I'd say yes, I would recommend it. It is a flawed set, but I still think it's a really good one. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please press like and subscribe if you're new. I do LEGO and Ninjago videos like this every single day, so if you subscribe, you'll be the first to see them. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!